A single loaf of bread could cost you your life, and for decades, every Italian bakery in Brooklyn paid the price just to survive. If you want to understand how power really works in America's darkest corners, stay with this story, because what happened to Brooklyn East bakers was a blueprint for organized crime across the nation. Brooklyn, New York, November 1933. A baker opens his shop on a Monday morning. The ovens are warm. The flour sits in sacks against the wall. Outside, footsteps approach. Two men enter. They do not ask for bread. They place an envelope on the counter. Inside, a number. The baker knows what it means. He pays. He always pays. Every Monday. Every week. For years. Across Brooklyn, the same scene repeats. 700 Italian bakeries. 700 envelopes. 700 payments. The amounts vary. Some bakers pay $3 weekly. Others pay $12. The number depends on the size of the shop, the size of the oven, the size of the fear. The system is precise. Brooklyn is divided into zones. Each collector has his route. No one crosses into another man's territory. The organization runs like a business, better than most businesses. The collectors arrive on schedule. They keep records. They never forget a payment. The bakers do not call the police. They know better. One baker tried. His shop burned 3 days later. Another baker spoke to a reporter. He disappeared for 2 weeks. When he returned, he spoke to no one. The message was clear. Pay or suffer. Every baker in Brooklyn understands. Behind this machine stands one name. Ignazio Lupo, the Wolf. The Wolf is 60 years old in 1933. His hair is gray. His shoulders are broad. His hands are thick. He walks through Brooklyn like he owns it. In many ways, he does. He has been terrorizing Italian immigrants for more than 30 years. He started in Manhattan's Little Italy. Black Hand letters, kidnapping, murder. He expanded to counterfeiting. The Secret Service caught him. He went to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary in 1910, 30-year sentence. But he got out. Parole in 1920. President Warren G. Harding commuted the rest of his sentence in 1923. One condition. Stay clean. No more crime. The Wolf agreed. The Wolf lied. By 1927, he moved to Brooklyn. He built a house on Avenue P. Nice neighborhood, Bath Beach area, right in the center of the Italian community, right in the center of his operation. His brother-in-law, Ciro Terranova, gave him the property. Terranova ran the Artichoke Racket in Manhattan. The Wolf would run the bakery racket in Brooklyn. The system begins small. A few bakeries, a few threats, but it grows. The Wolf is patient. He understands fear. He understands business. He knows that bakers cannot fight back. They are immigrants. They do not speak English well. They do not trust the police. They trust the old ways. And the old ways say, when the mafia comes, you pay. The collectors work efficiently. They arrive in the morning, before customers, before witnesses. They do not threaten directly. They do not need to. Everyone knows what happens to those who refuse. A broken window, a ruined batch of dough, a fire, or worse. The collectors smile. They are polite. They collect the money. They leave. The baker opens his shop. Another week begins. The Wolf does not work alone. He has partners, enforcers, men who handle problems. Anthony Forty is one. Forty collects payments. He knows every bakery in his zone. He knows every baker's name. He knows how much they make. He knows when they try to hold back. When a baker resists, Forty makes a visit. Sometimes he brings friends. Sometimes he comes alone. Either way, the baker pays. The operation expands beyond bread. The Wolf controls the Italian lottery in Brooklyn. He runs the grape racket. Every fall, Italian families buy grapes to make wine. The wolf controls the supply. He sets the prices. He takes his cut. The families pay. They have no choice. The grapes come from him, or they do not come at all. Giuseppe Morello works with the wolf. Morello is family, connected through marriage, connected through crime. Morello ran the Morello crime family in Manhattan, one of the first mafia families in New York. He and the wolf worked together in the counterfeiting operation. Both went to prison. Both got out. Both returned to what they know best: extortion, terror, control. In 1930, Giuseppe Morello is murdered, shot dead in his office in Harlem. A mafia power struggle. The wolf survives. He always survives. He is careful. He stays in Brooklyn. He stays quiet. He lets others fight the wars. He collects his money. He banks his profits. Some say he sends over $1 million back to Italy, deposited in Palermo banks. Safe, untouchable. The bakers cannot escape. They cannot move. Their businesses are tied to their neighborhoods. Their customers are local. Italian families who buy fresh bread daily. If a baker leaves his territory, he loses his customers. If he refuses to pay, he loses his shop or his life. The system is perfect. The wolf designed it that way. But in 1933, something changes. One baker decides to write a letter, not to the police, to the governor, Governor Herbert Lehman. The letter explains the situation, the threats, the payments, the fear. The baker does not sign his name. Too dangerous. But the letter reaches Lehman's desk. He reads it. He is furious. Governor Lehman forwards the letter to the Brooklyn District Attorney, William F. X. Gohane. Gohane is a prosecutor who hates racketeers. He sees the letter as an opportunity. He contacts the New York State Attorney General, John J. Bennett, Jr. They decide to act together, a joint investigation. County and state working as one. For 2 months, investigators work in secret. They interview bakers. Quietly, carefully. The bakers are terrified. Many refuse to talk. They know what happened to others who cooperated. But slowly, witnesses come forward. Protected by police, guarded day and night, they tell their stories. The same story. Week after week, year after year. The wolf and his men. The envelopes, the money, the fear. On November 24, 1933, District Attorney Gohane and Attorney General Bennett present their evidence to a grand jury in Brooklyn, Kings County. The evidence is overwhelming. 700 Italian bakers victimized. Weekly collections ranging from $3 to $12 per shop. An estimated total of over $200,000 per year, just in Brooklyn. The racket extends to all 5 boroughs: Manhattan, Queens, the Bronx, Staten Island. 1,500 bakeries across New York City, all paying, all afraid. The grand jury returns indictments. Several men are charged. The names are withheld. Arrests are planned. But the prosecutors know the truth. To break the racket, they must break the wolf. The investigation uncovers the structure. The wolf at the top. Below him, the collectors. Below them, the enforcers. A pyramid of fear, each level insulated from the others. If a collector gets arrested, he cannot identify the wolf. If an enforcer gets caught, he stays silent. Omerta, the code of silence. The foundation of mafia power. The prosecutors face a problem. Witnesses are terrified. Even with police protection, they hesitate. Some witnesses receive visits, not from the wolf's men, from friends, family members, people they trust. The message is subtle. Go away for a while. Take a vacation. Your business will be handled. Your family will be provided for. Generously. The offer is clear. Disappear or testify. Many disappear. But enough witnesses remain. 5 weeks of protection. Police guards rotate shifts, day and night. The witnesses stay in safe locations. They review their statements. They prepare for trial. The prosecutors build their case, document by document, testimony by testimony. The evidence mounts. Meanwhile, the Wolf continues operations. He is confident. He has been arrested before. He has always walked free. He believes this time will be no different. He underestimates Gehenna. He underestimates Bennett. He underestimates the determination of the government to stop him. District Attorney Gehenna discovers something crucial. A document hidden in federal archives. The conditional commutation signed by President Harding in 1923. The language is specific. The Wolf must remain law-abiding. He must not be connected with any unlawful undertaking. If he violates these conditions, the President can revoke the commutation. The Wolf can be sent back to prison to serve the remaining 20 years of his original sentence. Gehenna obtains a photostatic copy. He reads it carefully. The clause is clear. The President is the sole judge of whether the Wolf violated the conditions. No trial needed, no jury. Just a presidential decision. Gehenna sees his path forward. He compiles evidence. He documents the bakery racket. He connects the Wolf to every element. The collections, the threats, the violence. On January 11th, 1936, Governor Lehman receives a letter from Italian bakers in Brooklyn. Another plea for help. The Wolf is still operating. The racket continues. Independent bakers who testified in the 1933 case are being harassed. Their shops are bombed. They are beaten. Driven out of business. The Wolf is retaliating. Governor Lehman forwards the letter to Gehenna. He adds his own demand. Stop the Wolf, permanently. Gehenna assigns Assistant District Attorney Ralph K. Jacobs to the case. Jacobs is thorough, relentless. He works with 2 detectives from the Criminal Alien Squad, Louis Muscatiello and William Cajusti. Both speak Italian. Both understand the community. They infiltrate the Wolf's organization. For 5 months, the detectives gather evidence. They document meetings. They identify collectors. They track money. They discover the scope of the operation. The bakery racket is only part of it. The Wolf controls the grape trade. He runs the Italian lottery. He has his hands in every Italian business in Brooklyn. Protection money from fruit sellers, from fish markets, from barber shops. Even bootblacks pay tribute. The detectives learn about the Wolf's past, the murders, the counterfeiting, the connections to the Mafia in Sicily. They discover his relationship with Ciro Terranova, the property on Avenue P, the trips to Italy, the money deposited in Palermo banks. They uncover the December 2nd, 1929 dinner, the setup to steal the murder contract, the plan to kill Frankie Yale and Frankie Marlowe, the hit carried out, the Wolf's expansion into their territory. Frankie Yale was murdered on July 1st, 1928, shot dead in Brooklyn, Sunday afternoon, driving his car, gunned down in broad daylight. For years, everyone blamed Al Capone. Capone had motive. Yale was moving in on his territory. But Giogon's investigation reveals the truth. The Wolf ordered the hit. Terranova signed the contract. The purpose was to take over Yale's rackets in Bath Beach and Coney Island, the bakery racket, the protection rackets. All of it? The investigators compile everything. They add proof of the Wolf's meeting on December 2nd, 1923, a dinner at a dingy restaurant on Columbia Street. The police found the Wolf there with Anthony Forty. Forty is now in Sing Sing, convicted of extortion in the bakery racket, sentenced to 10 years. The connection between Forty and the Wolf completes the puzzle. The Wolf ran the bakery racket. Forty worked for the Wolf. The evidence is undeniable. Governor Lemon writes to President Franklin Roosevelt. The letter is formal, direct. It lays out the case. It includes all the evidence. the bakery racket, the extortion, the violence, the violation of the 1923 conditional commutation. Lehman makes his request clear. Revoke the commutation. Send the Wolf back to Atlanta. Remove him from society. President Roosevelt reviews the evidence. He consults with the Attorney General. The decision is made. On a Friday in July 1936, Roosevelt signs the warrant. The Wolf's parole is revoked. He is to be returned to Atlanta Federal Penitentiary immediately to serve out the remaining 20 years of his original sentence. On Tuesday morning, July 14, 1936, at 1 o'clock, federal marshals arrive at a bakery on 15th Avenue in Brooklyn. The bakery is owned by Rocco Lupo, the Wolf's son. The Wolf is entering the building. The marshals arrest him on the spot. He is 60 years old, gray hair, still strong. He protests. He shakes his head angrily. He demands answers. The marshals ignore him. They take him to police headquarters, then to the Federal House of Detention. At 8 o'clock that morning, 7 hours after his arrest, the Wolf is on a train. Pennsylvania Railroad Terminal, handcuffed to 2 marshals, heading south, to Atlanta, to prison, to the end of his criminal career. The New York Times runs the story the next day. July 16, 1936. Front page. The headline reads, "Prison shuts again on Lupo the Wolf." The article details his crimes, his counterfeiting conviction, his parole, his return to racketeering, his control of the bakery racket, his final arrest. The Wolf's story is over, but the bakery racket is not. With the Wolf gone, others move in. The structure remains. The system remains. The fear remains. New men take over the collections. New enforcers handle the problems. The bakeries continue to pay. The Italian bread market in Brooklyn remains under mafia control. Louis Buhalter enters the picture. Lepke, head of Murder Incorporated. Buhalter controls labor racketeering across New York, trucking, garment industry, and bakeries. He partners with Jacob Shapiro. Together, they dominate the movement of goods. Flour arrives at bakeries by truck. Buhalter controls the trucks. He controls the drivers. He controls the Teamsters Union locals. If a bakery refuses to cooperate, the flour does not arrive. Simple, effective, brutal. Buhalter's operation is more sophisticated than the Wolf's. He does not extort individual bakeries directly. Instead, he controls the supply chain. The trucking companies pay him. The bakeries pay the trucking companies. The cost passes to the consumer. The price of bread rises. No one complains. Everyone pays. By the late 1930s, the bakery racket evolves. It becomes more organized, more corporate, less visible. The mafia families divide the territory. Each family controls certain neighborhoods. Each family has its system. Joseph Profaci emerges as a major power. Profaci arrives in the United States in 1921. From Sicily, Palermo province. He enters through Ellis Island. He settles in Brooklyn. He is 24 years old. He has family connections. Mafia connections. He understands the business. He starts small. Bootlegging during Prohibition. Olive oil imports. Legitimate and illegitimate. He earns the nickname the Olive Oil King. His company, Mamma Mia Importing, brings olive oil from Italy. A legal front for illegal activities. In 1931, after the Castellanoese War, the Mafia reorganizes. The commission is formed. 5 families rule New York. Profaci becomes one of the bosses. His family controls Brooklyn, parts of Long Island. His operations include gambling, loan sharking, extortion, and bakeries. Profaci's approach to the bakery racket is indirect. He does not extort bakers personally. He controls the market through partnerships, through business relationships, through fear. A bakery owner who wants to succeed must have good relations with Profaci's family, must buy supplies from approved vendors, must hire approved workers, must pay approved fees. The system is invisible, but it is absolute. Some bakeries are owned by Profaci family members, relatives, associates. These bakeries receive favorable treatment, better locations, better suppliers, better protection. Independent bakers struggle. They face mysterious problems. Equipment breakdowns, supply delays, labor troubles. The problems disappear when they cooperate with Profaci's people. Profaci maintains a respectable image. He lives in a nice house. He attends church. He donates to Catholic charities. He presents himself as a legitimate businessman, an importer, a community leader. But behind the facade, the rackets continue. The bakeries pay. The money flows. The system works. The 1940s bring changes. World War II. Many mafia members serve in the military. Others work the black market. Rationing creates opportunities. Sugar is rationed. Flour is rationed. Bakers need supplies. The mafia controls the black market. The bakeries pay premium prices. The profits soar. After the war, the bakery racket stabilizes. The families settle into territories. The conflicts decrease. The system becomes routine, a cost of doing business. Like rent, like utilities, the bakers pay the mafia. The customers buy the bread. Life continues. In 1988, something changes. Independent bakers in Brooklyn and Staten Island form an association. The Association of Independent Bakers and Distributors of Italian Bread. The purpose, officially, is to protect their interests, to coordinate distribution, to maintain quality standards. But the reality is different. The association becomes a cartel. It fixes prices. It divides territories. It eliminates competition. The association establishes rules. A store can only buy bread from one baker. If a store wants to switch bakers, the association must approve. The old baker must be paid. Cash compensation for losing the customer. The system prevents competition, locks in customers, guarantees profits. In 1990, the association raises prices from 75 cents to 85 cents per loaf. A 10-cent increase. 5 cents goes to the bakers. The other 5 cents is split between deliverers and store owners. Because the association controls the market, consumers have no choice. They pay the new price. All association members print the price on their bread sleeves. Unity, conformity, control. The association operates openly. Regular meetings. Disputes are mediated by association leaders. Joseph Profaci, president of Reliable Bakery in Brooklyn, leads the group. Salvino Prestiani serves as business agent. Robert Maloney runs Maloney and Sons Bakery in Staten Island. Charles La Lima serves as association president. Together, they run the operation. About 50 bakeries, supplying over 1,000 small grocery stores and delicatessens, controlling most of Staten Island and Brooklyn, expanding into Manhattan, Queens, Westchester County, Nassau County. Law enforcement hears complaints. Store owners, independent bakers, but no one cooperates. The fear remains. Decades after the Wolf, decades after Buhalter. The system still works. The intimidation continues. Bakers and store owners refuse to testify. They know the consequences. Manhattan District Attorney Robert Morgenthau decides to act. If witnesses will not come forward, he will create his own evidence. An undercover operation. In early 1993, investigators open a bakery, a storefront at 327 West 11th Street in Greenwich Village. They call it Louis Basil's. The name combines letters from several detectives' names. 6 undercover detectives work the operation. They wear baker's whites. They pretend to bake bread daily. They do not actually bake. They wake at 3 in the morning, drive to New Jersey, buy real Italian bread, return to Manhattan, wrap the loaves in customized paper sleeves, the signature of authentic fresh Italian bread. The operation looks legitimate. The detectives begin selling to grocery stores. Manhattan, Brooklyn. Store owners refuse to buy, even though Basil's bread is cheaper. Even though, according to Morgenthau, it tastes better. The stores are locked into the association system. They cannot switch. The association notices Basil's. 2 members approach. They meet at the White Horse Tavern on Hudson Street. They sit down with a detective posing as a baker. Over drinks, the message is delivered. Violence could come to Basil's. Violence could come to the employees, unless they play by association rules. The threat is clear. Join or suffer. The detective records everything. The meetings, the threats, the explanation of the system, the fixed prices, the territorial rules, the compensation for switching bakers. All of it documented. On July 13, 1994, Morgenthau announces the indictment. 4 officials of the Association of Independent Bakers and Distributors of Italian Bread, Salvino Prestiani, Joseph Vitacco, Robert Naloni, Charles La Lima, charged with price fixing, coercion, tax evasion. They face up to 4 years in prison, fines of $100,000 each. Morgenthau holds a press conference. He hands out loaves of Italian bread to reporters, bread wrapped in Basil's sleeves. He explains the operation. The undercover bakery cost over $100,000 to run, but it broke the cartel. The investigation continues. Organized crime connections are suspected. The evidence will reveal more. The bakery racket that began in the 1920s finally faces prosecution in the 1990s. 7 decades of control, 7 decades of extortion, 7 decades of fear. The system that the Wolf built, that Buhalter expanded, that Profaci refined, that the association maintained, all of it documented, all of it charged. The indictments mark the end of an era. The Italian bread market in Brooklyn would never be the same. The loaves still baked each morning. The stores still opened. The customers still bought their bread. But the envelopes stopped coming. The collectors stopped calling. The fear began to fade.